Born in the bustling streets of the Bronx, New York, Miguel Rivera learned the art of survival from an early age. The constant hum of the elevated subway, the graffiti that adorned the decaying buildings, and the suspicious look of those who passed by shaped their world. The son of Puerto Rican immigrants who could not cope with the difficulties of life in the big city, Miguel was left to his own devices after the tragic death of his parents in a car accident. At 13, his home was a cardboard box folded under the marquee of a closed store on Fordham Road. Winter was brutal, and summer brought with it another kind of challenge with the suffocating heat. Miguel found company in other homeless youth. Together they formed a sort of dysfunctional family, sharing food when possible and defending themselves against the dangers of the streets. "Hey, Miguel, I got some bread at that bakery on Jerome Avenue. Splitting is surviving, right?" cried Anna, a 15-year-old girl with an indomitable spirit. "You're awesome, Anna." "Thank you, really," Miguel replied, his face lit up by a shy smile. This kind of solidarity was what kept his faith in humanity. Miguel never attended school regularly. Instead, he learned to read from old newspapers and discarded magazines he found in dumpsters. One night, while searching a container behind a diner on East 149th Street, he found a torn book on business and entrepreneurship. From that moment, a flame ignited within him. "Imagine if I could have my own business one day, Anna. It sounds crazy, right?" Michael whispered in the dim light of a pole, the pages of the book scattered before him. "Nothing is crazy if you believe enough," Anna replied, her eyes shining with a mixture of hope and challenge. At the age of 16, Michael began doing small jobs for local merchants. Cleaning sidewalks, delivering messages, small repairs, anything that could bring some money. His hard work caught the attention of Jose Martinez, the owner of a small grocery store in the Grand Concourse. "You're a real worker, Miguel. Why don't you come work for me after school? I may not pay much, but it's better than nothing," Joseph offered, admiring the boy's determination. "I would love to, Mr. Martinez. Thank you very much," Miguel gratefully accepted, seeing there an opportunity for change. Life on the streets taught Michael more than just survival. It taught him the value of community, persistence, and hope. He knew the journey would be long and arduous, but he was determined to change his destiny. With every task he completed, every book he read under the street light, he built the foundations of his future. The street was his stern master, but also the source of his resilient determination to become something more than the world expected of him. On a gray October afternoon, while Miguel finished another day of work at Jose Martinez's grocery store, an unexpected incident would mark the beginning of a new phase in his life. While stacking cans of beans on a shelf, he heard a commotion outside the store. Curious and worried, Miguel ran to the door, only to find an elderly woman being assaulted by a young man. Without hesitation, Michael threw himself at the assailant, managing to disarm him and drive him away. The woman, still trembling with fear, looked at Michael with teary eyes. "Thank you, young man. I don't know what I would have done without your help," she said, holding his hands with surprising force for her age. "No need to thank you, ma'am. I'm just happy to be here to help," Miguel replied with a comforting smile. The woman introduced herself as Clara Rodriguez, a former public school teacher who had lived in the area for over 50 years. "You seem to have a good heart, Miguel. Have you ever thought about studying for real? It's not too late to change his life," she questioned, glancing at him intensely. Miguel hesitated for a moment, his dream of a formal education seeming farther than the moon. I always wanted to study, but I never got the chance." "Well, maybe I can help with that," said Clara, a twinkle of determination in her eyes. She offered Miguel the chance to enroll in preparatory classes for the GED, promising to help him with his studies. "You helped save my day, Miguel. Allow me to help save your future." Driven by Clara's chance encounter and generosity, Michael felt a spark of hope ignite within him. He began attending evening classes, balancing his work at the grocery store during the day. Every book he opened, every equation he solved, was one more brick in the foundation of his new life. Clara was at his side, patient and encouraging, becoming the mentor and maternal figure he had missed so much. In a few months, Miguel passed the GED exam, an achievement he could hardly believe. "I knew you could do it," Clara said, tears of pride streaming down her wrinkled face. "Now it's time to think bigger, Miguel. How about college?" With Clara's help, Miguel applied for scholarships and was accepted to Baruch College with a full scholarship. It was a new and intimidating world. Michael was often lost amid discussions about economics, politics, and literature, but his determination and ability to overcome challenges quickly highlighted him among his colleagues. However, it was not easy. The pressure to adapt and the constant struggle against the stigma of his past weighed on him. Miguel often felt like an imposter, a feeling he shared in his evening conversations with Clara. "Remember where you came from, Miguel. You bring with you not only your story, but also the resilience and strength of those who have not had the same opportunities you now have," Clara advised, always knowing the right words to keep you focused and motivated. During his time at college, Miguel also became involved in mentoring programs for young people in situations similar to his own. Sharing your story and helping others find their way has become an essential part of your life. Each student he helped was a reminder of where he had started and what still needed to be done. When Miguel graduated with honors in business administration, the ceremony room was filled with applause and admiration, but no look shone as bright as Clara's, sitting proudly in the front row. She had seen the boy who saved her purse turn into a man of vision and purpose. After graduation, Miguel was determined to give back to the community that supported him during his darkest years. He knew that his true calling was not simply to accumulate personal success, but to utilize his skills and resources to positively impact the lives of others. With the guidance of Clara and her teachers, Miguel began to draw up a plan for his own company. He wanted to create a startup focused on offering employability solutions to people who, like him, came from disadvantaged situations. The idea was simple but powerful, a service that would not only help find jobs, but also offer training and professional development. During the following months, while working different jobs to support his vision, Miguel refined his business plan. He attended networking events, connected with potential investors, and participated in startup competitions, where his history and mission drew attention and generated support. Finally, Michael's effort began to bear fruit. After an exciting presentation at an important event for entrepreneurs, he got his first big investment. It was a crucial moment, marked by applause and tears, because Miguel knew that every penny invested in his company was a bet on the ability of people to overcome their circumstances. As his startup began to take shape, Miguel never left aside the human aspect of his mission. He established programs within the company that prioritized hiring people in vulnerable situations and partnered with nonprofits to reach a wider audience. Success did not come overnight, but with persistence and a strong sense of purpose. Miguel faced many challenges, from the hesitation of investors who doubted his ability due to his past, to the complexity of balancing a growing startup with his commitment to making a social impact. However, each obstacle overcome only reinforced his determination. The moment of truth came when, after years of hard work and dedication, Miguel's company finally reached a point of stability and recognition in the market. Not only had he built a successful business, but he had also transformed the lives of hundreds of people by giving them the tools to change their own stories. The day Miguel was named CEO of his company, he looked back at the long road he had taken from the streets of the Bronx to the podium of one of the city's most respected young entrepreneurs. Beside her, Clara, now a fragile figure but still immensely strong in spirit, smiled with satisfaction. "You did it, Miguel. You really did it," she whispered, her words loaded with deep, true pride. After becoming CEO of his own professional development company, Miguel now faced the challenges and responsibilities of leading an organization with a deep social mission. The company, called New Start, specialized in training and putting into the labor market people who had gone through similar difficulties to those he had faced. Every new project, every partnership established, was a step toward transforming lives, just as his had been transformed. Michael remembered his origins daily. His office was decorated with images of the Bronx, portraits of significant moments of his journey, and a small bookcase that kept the worn-out book about business he had found in his days on the street. Every detail was a reminder of where he had started and what still needed to be done. In the beginning, leading New Start was a roller coaster of emotions and challenges. Miguel struggled to balance the company's operational needs with his long-term vision. He was involved in all aspects of the business, from fundraising to the development of training programs, always aiming to create a real impact. "We're not just offering jobs, we're rebuilding lives," Miguel often said in his meetings with the team. His enthusiasm and passion were contagious, but they also put enormous pressure on him to continue expanding and improving the company. The story of Clara, her mentor, remained a source of inspiration. She had died a year after Michael's graduation, leaving him a letter he kept as a treasure. "Continue to fight for what is right, Michael. Your journey is proof that each of us has the power to make a difference," the letter said. Michael read these words every morning before starting work, as a mantra to keep his mission clear in mind. On a particularly difficult day, when an important funder hesitated to renew his support, Miguel found himself walking the streets of the Bronx, reliving the memories of his youth. The streets were different, with new buildings and shops, but the air still carried the echoes of his difficult childhood. Sitting on a park bench, he watched some young men play basketball, their laughter filling the air, bringing a smile to his face. "Can I play with you?" Miguel asked, approaching the court. The young men, surprised, agreed, and for an hour, Miguel played basketball with them, leaving aside the concerns of the company. "You play well, man. What's your story?" one of the young men asked, panting after the game. Miguel smiled, looking at the curious faces. "My story began much like many of you, right here on the streets of the Bronx. But now, I'm trying to make a difference so that others don't have to go through what I went through." Inspired by the conversation with the youth, Miguel returned to the office with a new determination. He drafted a passionate proposal and sent it to the funder, detailing not only New Start's successes, but also the individual transformation stories the company had facilitated. To his surprise and relief, the funder responded positively, not only renewing support, but also increasing funding. It was a decisive moment, reaffirming the importance and impact of Miguel's work. With additional resources, Miguel expanded New Start, opening new offices in other cities and creating specialized programs for different industry sectors. He made sure to hire alumni of the program, those who had transformed their lives through New Start, ensuring that the company's mission remained genuine and that its impact continued to grow. These former students brought not only their skills, but also their personal stories, reinforcing the culture of empathy and resilience that Miguel valued. As New Start became an increasingly recognized positive influence, Miguel was invited to speak at conferences and seminars on social entrepreneurship. He shared his story not only as a narrative of personal overcoming, but also as an example of human potential for change and growth. Each presentation was an opportunity to inspire others and highlight the importance of corporate social responsibility. During a significant event in Washington, D.C., Miguel met with industry leaders and government representatives. It was on this occasion that he articulated the need for more effective public policies to support the reintegration of marginalized people into the workforce. His speech was received with enthusiastic applause and led to the formation of strategic partnerships with government agencies and other non-governmental organizations. Returning to his hometown, Miguel hosted a large community event in the Bronx, celebrating both New Start's 5-year anniversary and the impact the organization had had on the community. The event featured workshops, lectures, and activities for children, all designed to strengthen community ties and encourage young people to pursue their dreams, regardless of their origins. During the event, Miguel was approached by a young woman, Letitia, who with tears in her eyes, thanked him for changing his life. "I was lost, hopeless. The New Start program gave me a second chance, Miguel. Today, I work here, and I can help my family in a way I never imagined possible," she said, her voice choked by emotion. These words reaffirmed to Michael the importance of his work. He realized that every effort, every long night, and every challenge was worth it. New Start was not just a company, but a movement, a catalyst for change. Driven by these experiences, Miguel began writing a book, sharing his story and lessons learned along the way. The book, titled From Street to CEO, A Journey of Hope, was a way to reach an even larger audience, spreading its message that it is possible to turn adversity into opportunity. Miguel was standing on stage in the bright spotlight of a large auditorium in New York, where the annual awards ceremony for business leaders was held. He had been chosen as the Entrepreneur of the Year, a recognition that celebrated not only his financial achievements, but also his social impact. As the crowd cheered, he looked at the sea of faces, feeling a mixture of pride and humility. "This award is not just mine," Miguel began, his firm voice echoing through the auditorium. "It belongs to every person New Start has helped rebuild, every team member who has worked tirelessly to make our mission a reality, and every partner who has believed in our vision. Together, we are redefining what it means to be successful in the business world." Returning from the event, as the car slid through the streets of Manhattan, Miguel reflected on his journey. He thought of how every choice and every challenge had shaped the man he had become. The luxury around him, the comfortable car, the bespoke suit was a testament to his material achievement. But what really filled him was the work he did, the opportunity to give others the chance he himself had. The next day, Miguel visited New Start's central office, where the walls were decorated with photos of program participants and inspiring quotes. He made sure to spend time with his team, thanking them personally for their effort and dedication. On his desk, he found a pile of letters and thank you emails from former students of the program, each reaffirming the value of the work they did. One of the letters caught his attention. It was from a young man named Carlos, who had been part of one of New Start's early training groups. Carlos wrote about how the program had helped him escape a cycle of poverty and crime, and how he was now opening his own business, a small bakery in the neighborhood where he grew up. "Without New Start, I would never have imagined that I could own a company. Thank you for believing me when few did," wrote Carlos. Miguel felt a knot form in his throat. These stories were the true measure of his success. Motivated by letters like Carlos's, Miguel decided to start a foundation dedicated to expanding the reach of New Start. The Transformed Lives Foundation aimed to subsidize education and training for those in underserved communities, ensuring that more people could change their life paths. While working at the foundation, Miguel also began to participate in panels on social justice and economic reform, using his platform to advocate for systemic changes that could help prevent the circumstances that led so many young people to desperate situations like those he had experienced. At one of these conferences, he met some old friends from the streets of the Bronx. They had gone their separate ways, some more difficult than others, but all felt inspired by Michael's story. Together, they discussed how they could collaborate to support the neighborhood's youth by planning initiatives that could offer alternatives to crime and hopelessness. This meeting was a deeply significant moment for Miguel. He realized that his influence could be a catalyst for good, not only through New Start or the foundation, but also inspiring and mobilizing those around him to become agents of change. At the end of a long day, Miguel used to walk around the city, passing through the places that marked the chapters of his life. Stopping in front of Jose Martinez's old grocery store, now closed, he reflected on the power of an opportunity. Joseph had given him more than one job. He had given him a chance to see a different future for himself. This generosity of spirit was something that Michael sought to replicate in all his actions. In one of these reflective walks, Miguel decided to visit his old school, where it all started with the preparatory classes for the GED. The building looked smaller than he remembered, but every step resonated with memories of struggles and triumphs. There, he was warmly welcomed by a new generation of teachers and students. He shared his story, emphasizing the importance of perseverance and education. His speech was not only inspiring, but also a reminder to himself to never forget his roots. Miguel started a scholarship program in partnership with the school, dedicated to students who, like him, faced financial difficulties but had a burning desire to learn and grow. He knew that each bag could be the beginning of a new success story, a new cycle of inspiration and transformation. As night fell over the city, Miguel sat on a bench in the same park where, years ago, he played basketball with those young people. Looking at the city skyline, the city lights flashing like distant stars, he thought about the journey he had traveled. It wasn't just the distance from the Bronx to downtown that impressed him, but the inner journey that had transformed a lost and desperate young man into an influential leader and a visionary. In this quiet moment, Michael felt a deep gratitude, not just for his achievements, but for the community that had supported him, for the people who believed in him when he least expected it, and for the opportunities that transformed his life. He knew that true success is not measured by what is earned, but by what is returned. Michael's story is a testimony to the power of the human spirit to overcome adversity through solidarity, education, and hard work. It serves as a beacon of hope for all those struggling to change their own circumstances, and as a reminder that each of us has the potential to make a significant difference in the world. If you like this exciting story, help us by leaving your like and subscribing to our channel. Until the next story.